Hey everyone, and welcome to call number 5, where we're actually talking about three-way calls. And I'm very excited about the training this week. I'm really excited about our guest trainer as well. She's training on past level classes. I've seen her on the Premier 5 trip. I've seen her training in person. I've heard her train before, and she's amazing. So I know that you guys are going to love it. But before I dive into three-way calls, I wanted to recap quickly on last week's topic. So last week we heard from the great Mary Radford, and I love hearing from Nurse Mary. And I love when she talks about products that you can just feel her enthusiasm and excitement around products and just her experience that she's had. And so I love the stories that she told of consultants and their journey with the products. I also really enjoyed understanding where all the brochures were, where all the facts, and if you have questions, where not only you as an entrepreneur and CEO can help yourself, but you can also equip your teams with those same resources. And then you can even send your customers there so they can find answers to their questions. Now, today we're going to talk about three-way calls. And I think that this is a training and a topic that if you personally do this and you teach your teams to do this will catapult your business to amazing places. So I'm really excited to turn the time over to our guest trainer for today, Elizabeth Dunn. Elizabeth, are you there?
I am here.
Okay, the time is now yours.
Awesome. Fantastic. All right, you guys. Well, I hope everyone had a wonderful 4th of July. This month is an amazing month just for socialization. And so I love that we're going to be able to talk to and speak to three-way calls, because I think what you're going to find is that you're going to meet a lot of people this month. We've already done the 4th. We're rolling into cookouts, back to school events, new teachers, new kids in the class. Many of your kids are probably in sports, and you're rolling into vacation time. And so you're going to have a lot of people in your funnel, and it's going to be fat and happy. And probably a lot of you are going to be looking at your teams as well, helping to kind of facilitate this process. So I always like to say, no matter if your prospect knows it or not, we really want to move them from appointment to appointment to appointment. And this three-way call is simply one means to get them to that next step. And always remember, your next step isn't always a yes. It may not always be that they're going to say yes and jump on board. And it may be that we are simply answering questions or taking them to that next step closer to a yes or closer to a no, which is fine. Either way, tell me yes, tell me no, tell me quick, I gotta go. So we are moving these people through this process, and a three-way call is a great way to do that. One frustration that I seem to hit upon on my team is the three-way call is used simply to close someone. There's this mindset that a three-way call is its sole purpose is I'm going to get this person on the phone with my sponsor and they're going to join me in business. And I am here today, if nothing else, I'm going to simply debunk that rumor. So I'm going to talk to you about different things to remember while you're doing a three-way call, and also the wins and the what to says and the great questions to ask. And again, I know that you are going to pour this into your personal business, but my true ask is that you extend this into your team and provide them that duplication that we're going to talk about today. So with three-way calls in particular, please remember they're phone calls. I have had many people throw me on a group chat with someone, one of their prospects, to answer questions. And you guys know, most of us on the phone today, we were not born with cell phones in our hands. So texting can get really weird sometimes, especially if you're texting with a stranger who may or may not have their own apprehensions or thoughts about Rodan & Fields and the process that we're taking them through. So just like you can hear my excitement on the other end of the phone today, even though you're not watching my face and my expressions, I will have you know, that makes a huge difference when you can hear people's voices on the phone and you can get people to open up You can, understand and be more empathetic to their needs and their wants and their thoughts about Rodan and Fields. And so always make sure it's a phone call. I already touched on moving these prospects from appointment to appointment. But like I said, it doesn't necessarily have to always be, meet me at the coffee shop at 2 or get on the phone with my friend at 7. Sometimes it's great. The next step is you get to meet my business partner. I'm going to call her. She usually works in the morning. What's your schedule like tomorrow? Or great. It sounds like you're really interested in learning more. I'm going to send some information over and I'll follow up with you in 2 days. So I'm simply moving them from appointment to appointment without the stringent, necessarily time restraint with each and every appointment having to be to the minute. It can be a guideline of I'll touch base with you in a couple of days when you're prospecting. But moving to this 3-way call, it absolutely needs to be an appointment that is made with your leader. Or for some of you guys, you're running your teams, you've got multiple people that you're working with. There's nothing worse than being in the middle of Costco with my 3 kids around me. Everybody's ready to go. I'm hungry. We're working with, stuff's falling out of my purse, and my direct will call me with a person on the phone. And I have to instantly turn it on and be on when really I wasn't expecting the phone call, and I'm not going to be on my best game. So my advice to you is make sure your sponsor is ready and aware. Make sure you're training your teams. I need to be ready and aware so we can be the best on our best when we're talking to our prospects. Make sure that when you are the consultant, you guys put yourselves on mute. I can't tell you how many times I've really wanted to interject when I've been on a call with my sponsor because I forgot that little detail, or, oh yeah, we've already talked about that. Or maybe I'm trying to show my sponsor in an inadvertent way that I've already done that. Or even if I know what kit this person's been looking at, my sponsor might say, so tell me, have you picked out a kit already? Well, it's really easy for me to interject and say, oh, yeah, we've already done that. She's doing the $9.95 kit. But the truth be told, if you put yourself on mute, you allow your sponsor to take the wheel, you're going to be able to learn a lot more about your prospect. And better yet, you are showing the utmost respect to your sponsor, which guess what? That is duplicatable. So when you are facilitating these 3-way calls as well, you're going to see that. So make sure when you're training your newbies, have them put themselves on mute. This is a non-negotiable on our team. I tell them it doesn't matter what the person says, do not mute yourself until I bring you back in. These calls, you guys, short, sweet, to the point. They need to be concise. We need to be respectful of people's time. If you go over 20 minutes, it's too long. They need to be wrapped up. We're only answering a short few questions, and then we're moving on. We can always do these calls again if we need to, or we can get that information to them in a different manner. There's so many times in these calls where I've said, you know what? It sounds like you have questions on XYZ. So Sarah, why don't you send them more information? And so you don't have to necessarily go through the entire compensation plan or every single kit. Sometimes just hearing your voice is the whole point of these calls. So let's talk about the purpose. I talk about the purpose of these calls because I do think it is absolutely imperative that we understand why we're doing these calls. Not so much for the person on the other end, your prospect, but I love to set expectations for the sponsor. And I will tell you why, is because oftentimes, even in my beginning stages, I've done this with my team before, I can give you a multitude of examples, but I've been brought a 3-way call, and we hop off the phone, we do the call, everything goes great, and my consultant is devastated because the person didn't sign up on the call. They didn't sign up after the call, and so they called me in tears because they thought for sure that person was going to join their team right then and there. But truth be told, when you step back, the truth is it was just false expectations because that person didn't even know how to join the business. They didn't understand the kits, and they needed to talk to their husband. So really, they didn't have all the information needed. So I have divided this into 4 different times when we're going to do these training calls. I've itemized them. We're going to talk about expectations, inviting language, and also some closing statements or great questions. So my goal for you is to have, when you're rolling into these calls with your team, have them identify where their prospect is in this phase. So when you walk into the call, what is our goal today? And those goals are going to be, is this a training call? Is this a discovery call? Is this a call, taking on objections? Or is this a welcome call? And we're going to itemize those again as we roll through this for you guys. The very first one I want to talk about is our training call. And this one is probably the scariest of all, because this is what you're going to bring to your new consultants the very first time you sit down to a training. If they say, I want to grow a team, you say, great, bring me three-way calls. And so many times this is going to create massive anxiety, but I want you to shift your mindset. When you're training your new consultants, this is a training. You're going to grab anybody who will say yes to you, and we're going to jump on the phone. This also is an interesting aspect for the sponsor, because really you're just getting to know people on the phone. We're all kind of role playing in this position. We're letting our new consultants try out the three-way call, understand what buttons to push, understand what happens when it goes to voicemail. How do you even click back over? Do you all just hang up? Or, what does that look like? How do I function? How do I use the functions on my phone to even do this? Then they're going to have a chance to tell their story. Very short and sweet. Hey, Sarah, I know you saw I joined Radiant & Fields. Thank you so much for jumping on the phone with us. I really would love to learn more about this business and how it works. I want to introduce you to my sponsor. It would just mean the world to me. That's really going to be the invitation there, okay? There's no, do you want to join my team? There's no, we're going to sign you up as a preferred customer. This is, I need a favor from you, friend. And this is how I do business. And I just need you to be a warm body, a smiling face on the other end of this phone. Are you cool with that? So that's going to be the language that you're going to give your new consultant to invite someone to join you guys on a three-way call. If there's a restart, okay, sometimes you're going to have consultants who just jump the gun a little bit when they purchase their kit and don't actually start their business until months later. This is a great time to do this training three-way call as well. Something like, hey there, I know I called you when I first started Radiant & Fields, and I'm really getting going with this amazing company. They've just launched a new training program, and I really need your help. In order to meet a goal that I have, I would love to do a quick training with 5 people. Would you help me out and jump on the phone with my friend Elizabeth? So again, this is a favor. What you'll find oftentimes is these people do want to support this person in business. They may want to know more about the company. They may ask more questions. So I'm going to give you some questions to ask during that call as well. So here's some things that you as the sponsor might say to this friend or to this prospect. Hey girl, thank you so much for jumping on the phone with us. Kim and I are having a great time getting her business up and going, and I'm really thankful that you're willing to give us a listen. Kim's told me a little bit about you. I know you guys have known each other for a while, but I want to hear from you. Tell me about yourself. Are you married? Do you have kids? Do you work full time? And then you stop and you allow Kim to tell her story. This is going to allow you to be relatable. You've probably met somebody like Kim before, so you can say, oh my gosh, my business partner, she sounds just like you. This is so funny. It's like I already know you. You get this connection. And then you get to tell your story. As a sponsor, you say, oh, that sounds great. You're probably thinking, how in the world did we all get into this? So I want to share my story with you too. And I started with Radiant & Fields 4 years ago and really didn't have any expectation other than to get really great skincare for free. But what I've been so surprised at is the community and the tribe we had. And it sounds like you might be intrigued by that. Does any of this intrigue you? And then you get to wait and listen. And maybe this person does have some curiosities. Maybe they do want to find out more about the business. And you know what? They may say, you know what? I just did this for a favor. I wish you the best. I'll be more than happy to send people your way. Well, ding, ding, ding. You just got referrals for your new consultant. So this is a chance for you to tell all of your newbies that you're there to support them. You're there to help them grow their business. And it's going to establish you as a leader as much as it is get them out of their comfort zone. Sometimes you're going to roll into the products. They're not interested in the business. And you can say, listen, I heard you say that you had 3 kids. I don't know about you, but when I had my 3 kids, after everybody kind of got into elementary school, I realized, like, oh my gosh, I haven't slept in 6 years and I look like garbage. Like, are you using something on your skin? Would you be interested in even hearing more? Or are you happy with what you're doing? Like, you can relate to these people of, oh my gosh, you sound like me. Or, gosh, it sounds like you're with a realty company. So you've got your face on billboards and business cards all the time. Do you have a skincare program that you're using already? I'm sure you do. And they'll say, oh, I'm not real happy with it. Or, I've been looking at other items. And then you're saying, you know what? Sounds like you want these products. Has Christy told you about our PC Perks programs? And you can roll right into talking about these items as well. So that's our training. That is imperative for you guys to get your new consultants on the phone. Okay? The next purpose is our discovery phase. Now, when are we going to do discovery phase? Because this one gets confusing because we're kind of all discovering, we're all learning all the time. And each phase that your prospect walks through, they're going to discover something, right? Well, this is really when there's a lot of interest, but we really want to give validation of our consultant to this prospect. So again, this is a really great phase to do it. And maybe this person has had really great success with PCs. Maybe they have 1 or 2 team members. You've got a reason to walk in and say they are going to rock this and you need to join their team. So they're discovering Rodan and Fields still as a whole. The expectations, what are we going to walk away when the phone call ends? You are going to validate your direct as a very capable leader. We're going to pair them up with somebody that they can relate to figure out their why. We're going to talk about this at a time where kits may or may not have been discussed. This is really a time when I mentioned it before, where you're going to say, you know what? It sounds like I think I found the missing piece of information you're looking for. Let me get Christy to send you our enrollment kits. Or, you know what? It sounds like you're really interested in this, but you're doing this for fun. I'm going to send you some of our trips that I just got finished going on. I'm going to send you our little snippets of videos because we have tons of fun on this team. I can't wait to share with you. Inviting language to this. This is what you're going to allow your directs to have, this little arsenal of words and verbiage. When they're talking to someone about Rodan and Fields, they've got a great conversation going, but they just can't get them to say, okay, how do I get started? Or maybe the prospect just doesn't understand what everything is about, or branding or whatever. You're going to give this to them to say, okay, it sounds like you have some questions. The next step is you get to meet my friend Elizabeth. She's a huge part of my business, and I would absolutely love for you to hear her story. We work together, and I just love it. I know you've been intrigued on how this all works. So what time is best for you on Tuesday? And I'll see if I can grab her on the phone. Okay. That's some really, really great language just to invite them to the call. Notice I said the next step is you get to. So it's not the next step is we'll get on the phone with my business partner. She gets to meet me. So now you're allowing your new prospect to validate you as a leader. You get to meet her. And she's a huge part of my business. We're a team. We work together. All of this are really going to be hot spots for people that are looking at the business. She's not crazy. She's not doing this by herself. She has support. Not only does she have support, but I get to make an appointment to meet this person. It allows the prospect to know that we don't bring every single person to this next step, but they're ready for it. So now that you're on the phone, as a sponsor, here's some language for you. I'm going to throw in some little snippets in here that I want you to pay attention to with this one in particular. As the sponsor, you're going to say something like, well, you know what? I've actually got to run. I've got to get these kids ready for soccer, but it was so great to meet you, and you are in fabulous hands with Caroline. She's a great leader, and she's going to help you work through deciding if Rodan and Fields is a good fit for you. I really appreciate your time today, and I look forward to working with you. All right. listen to what I just said. And this, I mean, what was that? 4 sentences. Number one, I'm busy. I'm not just busy, but I'm busy with my family, and I got to go. It's been really great to meet you, and you are in capable hands with Caroline. So I'm going to hop off the phone, and I'm going to give you to someone who I trust as a leader, is what I said. She's a great leader, and not only is she great, but she's going to help you decide whether Rodan & Fields is good for you. I didn't say this is going to be an amazing fit and you're going to be a rock star and we're going to get you to level 5 in 3 months. I said we're going to figure out if this is a good fit. If. And that allows them to say, we are not, pigeonholing everybody into this one, you got to say yes to us, we're desperate for leaders. We're actually making a concise, systematic decision here and what's best for you and your family. And then the next thing that I said is, I really appreciate your time. And then I ended it with, I look forward to working with you. So I did give the hint of a yes, but not the desperation of, you need to do this now. So they have freedom. They don't feel like their hands are tied. I've given Caroline the capability and the go-ahead that I trust her, and I'm busy. I got to go. It's a great way to wrap it up and not look like we're dying to get people to join our teams. Next up, we got another little set of language. It sounds like you're really interested. The next step is the next step is we're going to walk you through what becoming a consultant actually looks like. I'm going to hop off now, and she's going to go over those next steps with you. Again, validating my consultant. She knows what to do. She's got the next step. I'm going to hop off the phone, but I was glad to be a part of this team effort. Some more language. Gosh, it sounds like the next step is to figure out if this is really for you. I can tell you're interested, but you probably have some more questions. Do you have someone that you run big decisions by? Maybe your husband, best friend, or your mom? How about we grab a piece of paper, write down all your questions, and we're going to come back and revisit this on Thursday. Does 10 a.m. work? So when you can tell someone has a lot more questions, always invite the person who is their partner, the person who, I don't even like this word, but the person who's going to play devil's advocate with them, and let them know that you're confident enough to take those questions head on. The worst thing we can do is assume that we can't talk through objections, which brings me to our next purpose. The third way that we want to bring somebody into a three-way call is to battle objections. When are you going to do this? The perfect time and purpose for this is when there's clearly interest, whether it's with the business model or whether it's with, the community. You've seen the, interest in the products. They have said, I'm really interested in doing this, but. So we have something we're working with. And maybe they've said to you even, but I can't figure it out. Something's holding me back. So they may not even say it's the money, or I don't have the network, or I don't have the time. They may not even be able to vocalize to you why this isn't a good fit. This is a great place to bring this in. You guys, you've already introduced them to the way that Rodan & Fields works. They've heard your story. They know about our products, and they have the business kits in hand. Okay? That's really, really important. This is your third-party validation, and we are going to take on those objections head on. Now, your expectation of this call is not necessarily, again, to have them sign on. But what I want the objection and the expectation when you hang up the phone, I want everybody on the call to understand, to see if our why is bigger than our why not. This is where you're going to get those wheels turning with your prospect or with your team members. And you're going to validate that business model. We're going to move them to a yes, or we're going to move them to a no. This is going to be that next step. This is the pretty much the final call before we place or gather that enrollment appointment. With this, I want you guys to understand it's okay to let your prospects go. And I'm going to say that because I've seen it. Magical things happen when you take and release the valve of pressure. When you operate your business closing at month's end and you're desperate, you're probably going to have people join you in business that may or may not have really been ready. So what I want you to know is it's okay for you to say, you know what? It actually sounds like it may not be the best time for you. I know you have a lot of stuff going on. Your family vacation's coming up next month, and I know you said you were moving the week after that. So how about I follow up with you? I'm going to put you down for August 5th. Does that work for you? All of a sudden, things happen, and they feel like, oh my gosh, yes, that does work for me. I want to do this, but I'm just not ready to operate under pressure. So with this call, please know that that is always an option. Do we want to do that? No, we want to sign everybody up right now. But please be okay with taking the pressure off if the timing isn't right, because just because it's not right now doesn't mean that it's never, right? Okay. Invitation. So here's language for your team members to use. So sounds like you really want to do this, but you're kind of hesitating based on XYZ. And I totally understand that. In fact, my girlfriend, Kim, felt the very same way. I would love for you to meet her and let her tell you her story. How does that sound? Okay, so again, we're providing that relatability. You're not the only person who's felt this way, that not only has felt this way, but actually turned out to be madly successful. So we're relating there. Some more language for you. I hear that you're super interested. I can hear that in your voice. And I think you may even actually want to do this, but you're kind of still exploring whether it's a good fit for you. I really think it's time for you to meet Kim. In Rodan & Fields, you need to know you will be your own boss, but you're by no means alone. You don't have to, you have not only the support of your team and all the support you can handle, but also from my great leader, Kim. So when you join, you get all of us. I want you to hear her story and get to know her as you continue to evaluate whether this opportunity is for you or not. She's super busy, but usually the morning hours work for her. Could you do 10 a.m.? Now, there's some language. Again, I want you to meet my friend. She sounds a lot like you. And this is going to be creative, and this is kind of a skill that you guys are going to learn over the years. I'm sure most of you have mastered it by now, but it's something important to train your teams to, of that relatability. Whether you have 4 kids, 3 kids, grew up in Alabama, love football, eat pizza all the time, like, I don't care what it is, find a point of relatability with your prospects, with everyone you meet, but most certainly with your prospects, and train your team to do the same. So now you guys are on the phone. You are all sitting on pins and needles waiting for this girl to say, yes, I want to do it. And so here's some language for you to kind of close this person out and get them to that next step. Get them to verbalize yes or no. Okay, it sounds like this is something you're really interested in. The next step is we pick out your kit. Which one did you pick out? Are you ready? We should really decide this in the next couple of days. What time for you works on Tuesday? So again, they don't know their next step is to pick out a kit. They've seen the kit, they get the kit, they understand what the kit's for, they're 100% on board with the pricing. They still need to know the next step is you get your kit. That's not something that's natural. They've never done Rodan & Fields before. So that's going to be something that you verbalize to them. And then you, again, be quiet and you wait. And they'll say, oh, okay, great. Well, let me go get my credit card. Hold on for just a second. Or you're right. I was kind of toying between the $9.95 and $6.95. I really think, for our budget, we'll go with the $6.95 right now. And okay, great. And then you say, what's the difference between the $9.95 for you? What was intriguing you about that $9.95? And get her, maybe they know, maybe they don't, but you get them to talk at that point. So that's a really great question. Just tell me the next step. We get your kit. And you'll know right away, once you close your mouth and listen, where they're leaning. Okay, here's some more. Let me tell you what's going on. I'm not sure about your timing and what's going on in your life right now. You sound like you've got a really full plate, but it is an incredible time in the company. I do want to put a little bug in your ear about what's happening, and that way you can factor it into your decision. We're getting ready for convention. Things are really, really heating up. When convention hits, we always have a new product release. I don't want you to miss that. I would love for you to join during the product release, but the fact of the matter is we can get such mad momentum going before momentum, that when that product release happens, you're not only fueling your own business, but we're going to have you a couple of business partners by that time too. How does that sound? So I'm creating some urgency, not by, Sarah's schedule or my schedule or my lead the way points are really depending on this. I'm creating urgency because of the company. And that helps mold people into that big picture vision that we're looking for them to have. All right, last one, you guys. Purpose is to welcome. Okay, let's just say you guys are masterminds at this first off, and I should have told you that at the beginning. I think three-way calls are underutilized probably because you know how to do this anyway. You can close somebody. You can take objections head on. You can go through discovery and training all by yourself. Like we know that. You're equipped. You've proven that. That's why you're on this call. But sometimes you get into the groove of things and you naturally just do that. And your team members are going to follow suit. So if you blow it, and if you do not do a three-way call at the 3 times that I listed before, make sure you do a welcome call. So someone joins your team and they're so excited, and then you're like, oh gosh, they don't know my sponsor. I need to introduce them on the team page. And then you remember this 3-way call thing buzzing in the back of your mind. Do a welcome call. We often call this round the horn, which basically means it's a welcome call. It's an introductory call. So the way that this would look is when do you do it? After a consultant has joined your team. Expectations, get excited. This is your opportunity to introduce your newest rock star to your leaders. So we're going to make appointments with these. They're short, they're sweet, they're fun. There's very little information. Again, it gives that third-party validation of your leadership, how awesome you are. And really, the invitation language goes something like this. Oh my goodness, Christy, I cannot even tell you how excited I am to get you started. The next step is we get to celebrate. I told my business partner, Kim, about you already, and she's just so excited to welcome you to the team. I can't wait for you to meet her. If Rodan & Fields she has taught me everything I know about Rodan & Fields. So when you join my team, you not only get me, but you get her too. Let me grab her really quick. Something else to say is, okay, you're official. The next step, you get to meet my leader, Emily. I told her that we were enrolling today, and I just can't wait for her to welcome you. Let me see if I can get her real quick. Hold tight. So as a sponsor, you're going to receive some of these calls. And, it's excitement, it's fun, it's all of that. And you're going to really just kind of ask some really great questions and kind of do that introductory call just like you would in the other times of, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to work with you. Stephanie is building an amazing team, and I'm so excited that she found you. She's been looking for somebody in Canada, and you are going to be the perfect leader to take it by storm. Tell me, what made you take the plunge? Okay, so again, you get to hear their why. And how cool is that? The generations all know this new consultant's why and can hold them to that accountability-wise. If there's a hiccup later on, if there's a time where, we need our leaders to step in, you've talked to this person maybe 2 or 3 times about holding their BBL and they won't, this is a great thing for you to write down and be able to follow up and help your team and say, like Stephanie, like when I met you that first day, I'll never forget how excited you were on the phone. And I was wondering, like, have you had your BBL yet? I really wanted to get on your page and, get excited with you, but I didn't see any pictures. What's going on? And it allows you to coach generationally on whys with contact and communication versus pulling up your vital signs and going, hey, Stephanie, why is your SB not run? Like, what's going on? Like, it allows you to dig into the why and hold that, as a piece of information in your back pocket versus looking at numbers, wanting to know where their performance is. So as you guys can tell, I'm passionate about 3-way calls. I love 3-way calls. It's one of my most favorite things to do as a sponsor, and it's my most, it's one of my really prideful things to do when I get to introduce my team to my leader, my sponsor who taught me everything. So I don't know necessarily the ins and outs of your team culture. And I will tell you, if your sponsor doesn't necessarily want you to bring 3-way calls, or I shouldn't say want to, everybody wants them, but it doesn't invite you to, take the initiative. That's what you guys are, the next generation of Rodan & Fields. So take the initiative, find someone to do these calls with you, and don't be scared to do these calls for your team and for generations down. It's not just for direct. So I invite you to dig in. Again, your funnels are going to be fat and happy after the month of July. We're all celebrating and meeting new people and moving around and taking vacations. So take names and grow your businesses and get ready for convention. I look forward to seeing you guys in Las Vegas, whether it be virtual or whether it be live. But I am so thankful for you guys, and thank you, Chase, for the opportunity to train these amazing consultants. I am super proud of y'all.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth, for that amazing training on three-way calls. I know that you trained before on setting up consultants for success, and I can see that not only are you passionate and great at doing that, but you're also passionate and great at training on three-way calls. So thank you so much for your time and great tips and best practices. Now with that, what I want to do next, as we do every single week, is to apply these things that we've just learned. So for the personal challenges for this week, identify 2 to 3 people, so sponsor, accountability partner, or some business partner, maybe someone else in Level Up, that you could use for three-way calls with your prospects. Second, schedule a three-way call with a person that you identified above and one of your prospects in the next week. Now, there were 4 different ways to leverage three-way calls that Elizabeth went through and trained on today. Now, the 2 that we count for Level Up with our weekly survey is actually the discovery and then overcoming objections. So those 2 are the ones that we count, and in terms of kind of a prospecting three-way call. The other three-way calls are great to kind of get people used to the warm water and get them used to being comfortable with three-way calls and leveraging with their teams. Now, for your team challenges, share the best practices that you've learned from this call. Share some of the language. I mean, she shared some great language on how to close, how to invite, for the 4 different ways that she leverages three-way calls. So tell your teams about that. Share that information with them so that they feel more confident and comfortable with three-way calls. And then invite your team to schedule a three-way call with you and then one of their prospects, so you can immediately put this into practice with your team and catapult your businesses to where you want it to be in the very near future. Now, prospecting challenge: add 10 to 20 new names to your prospecting list. Think of your local network, your barista, your hairdresser, grocery store clerk, etc. Think of people that you run into just on the street and that you catch up with. Write down those names. Reach out to those people this week. Now, as I said at the beginning, three-way calls and the tone that you set on three-way calls is contagious. So your practice and tone are very contagious to your team. So make sure that you're purposeful with the tone and the practice that you're leveraging three-way calls, because if you do, not only will it benefit your personal business, but it'll help set your business partners up for success as well. So thank you so much, everyone, for being on this call today. Look forward to seeing all of the success that you find and experience with three-way calls over the next week and moving on in the future as well, in future weeks. But thank you so much, everyone. Look forward to engaging with you on the Facebook page. Have a great day.